So first of all, thank you so much for joining our sessions. I appreciate your time. And today we're going to speak security. My name is Mikhail Vladimirov, and I'm a partner solution architector here at AWS. And today we're going to speak about security challenges. We will cover topics related to AWS Security Fundamentals. We will speak about compliances, about specific compliances requirements related to local regulations. Also, I will try to answer to questions in case if you have them at the end of our presentation. So, and let's start from the question. And I would like to ask you, what are your perceptions on cloud security? And I give you 40 seconds and just put your ideas into the chat windows of our web platform. So from my point of view, security is ability to protect your assets. It can be data, it can be systems, and it not only directly related to IT. So if we speak about security, it is much more broad questions. And now let's speak about the way how AWS understands security. And first of all, security is our top priority. And we often say that security is a job zero at AWS. So that means that we have a special KPIs and special process, and we care about both and customers' data and also about the way how we collaborate with our customers. Now let's look at another topic and why security is so important. And I remember really good quotations from one of well-known persons, Warren Buffett, and he told that it takes 20 years to build a reputation and only a few seconds to ruin it. And these graphics, from my point of view, it clearly represent this idea. And you can see the amount of cyber incidents with losses of more than 1 million. And just look at the tendency from the latest 6 or 7 years. And you can see that the number of these incidents is growing. And that is the reason why security became more and more important. But let's think about security I would not say in traditional way, but as a IT expert, I very often speak about security as about technical topic. We speak a lot about vulnerabilities, about different tools, about how attackers can get into your environment. And very often we are just missed a very important point that computer never attack computers, and it's people who attacks people. So, and it is most of the times security it is not a technology issue, it is a people issue. So it's important to think about it from two points of view. And the first is from your team points of view, and another from your attacker's point of view, and to understand the psychology. And if you look at the security from a high-level overview, it looks like a game playing a chess. So you have a chessboard, and you have your security process, your technologies, services, and you can combine them together and protect your environment against attackers who will try to get into your environment to steal your data. And it's not only about a single party, it's about to have multiple games simultaneously. So you can play with hundreds of attackers. And it's important to have tools and ability to deal with these situations when you need to be capable to scale your security services according to your IT environment. The only thing that is never changes, it is a change by itself. Because if we look back to the IT history, you can see that we get a lot of tools, a lot of services, but now we have even more. So and it is the world is constantly changes. So and every days, if you go to some security forums, you will find that people finds new way how to get into your environment. They will find new vulnerabilities. At the same time, new tools to protect your assets is introduced every day. Uh, and again, the only thing that is important is to be capable to deal to efficiently work with all of these changes. And people are the critical factor for your success, because the people are the key assets in your organization, especially we speak about security. Because if we think in security in a broad way, it's not only, as I already said, technologies. It's about psychology. It's about process. It's about how to communicate inside of your team and inside and maybe between different departments of your organizations or the company. And now let's summarize my findings. So currently at the security industry, we see the following challenges. First of all, expertise shortage. So people are key assets of your security organizations from one point of view. From the other point of view, it's really hard to find a good professional who is capable to work with different security areas and with different security topics. And that is the reason why it's important to remove repetitive, I would say, boring tasks from these people, because they should work on the most critical, on the most important security topics inside of your organizations. The second challenge is also connected with people, because if we don't have enough people to deal with security in a good way, very often security will look like as a blocker to block in your innovations, in your services. Let's imagine you would like to go into a new region. Yes, and you need to replicate your security environment, your security services in your region. And the questions if you can do it quickly and you have enough people to do it in a proper way. And very often the answer is no. That is the reason why in many organizations, the security departments is very often called no department. So it is a problem. The next one is that our environment is constantly changes. So you can see that new services are introduced and new vulnerabilities are introduced and new tools are introduced. And it's important to have an ability to be flexible and to be on top of all of these innovations. And the final challenge is regulations. So because a security department is very often too responsible for many compliance and they're responsible to make your environment or the environment of your company compliant with different regulations. And these regulations are introduced on a regular basis. I can just as an example give you a new regulations in European Union. It's called DORA, Digital Operation Resilience Act. And DORA will be enforced in 2025. And all customers from a finance industry should be aligned with the DORA requirements. And if you don't align, potentially you will have problems with different government authorities. And again, it's all of these tasks that should be completed by the security department. And how we can make their life easier. And previously, on our traditional environment, very often we have to decide if you stay secure or you introduce new services, you build new solutions, you move fast. Now you don't have this choice, because in case if you work with cloud technologies, and especially with AWS Cloud, you will be capable to move fast and at the same time stay secure. Now let's discuss the key elements why AWS Cloud is the most secure cloud in the market. First of all, our data center, our infrastructure, architected to be the most secure infrastructure. So it is secure by design. We have most operational experience from all this, from starting from the beginning of the AWS, and we accumulate this knowledge and we share this knowledge with our customers and our partners. The next one is pretty important. In case if you, for some reasons, don't trust to our third-party auditors who look at the AWS environment and confirm that our infrastructure is satisfied the most strict regulations all around the world. The next one, it is security automation. AWS provides not only secure, reliable, and resilient infrastructure. We provides a lot of tools that can help you to make your security more simpler. Moreover, you can easily use event-driven architecture because in AWS, all services, they can be combined together and you can get information about what had happened in your or has happened in your infrastructure to a specific services. For example, who created my Amazon Simple Storage bucket? When it was deleted? When my EC2 instance started? And you can take all this data, ingest into your searching tool to look and to use it in your detection and response mechanism. And finally, end-to-end security and guidance. AWS built and work with 1,000 of partners all around the world. It is both and service partners who provides knowledge how to deal with security in case if you need support and you don't have enough skilled people in your organizations, you can always contact our distributor like MOOC or our partners who will help you to build your secure solution in AWS. The next one is AWS technology partners. In case if you already has experience working with specific solutions like Fortinet, Palo Alto, Splunk, you can easily continue to work with the solutions because we have integrations between AWS technology partners, applications and services, and AWS Cloud. So you can go to the AWS Marketplace and to find different security solutions and easily implement them into AWS Cloud. And let's speak about AWS architecture. And I think it's not about architecture, it's about AWS infrastructure. And it's pretty important to understand that we pay a lot of attention to our data centers. And here is some definitions. First of all, when we speak about AWS global infrastructure, we speak about region. And region represents a specific place on a map. So it is a specific geo position. And each region consists of several of availability zones and the minimum number of availability zone is 3. It can be even more. All regions connect between each other. So the first, you can always implement resiliency and security strategy on a region level. So you can build such a solution that would be protected from different events in different regions. It is the first. The second, let's speak about availability zone. Availability zone, all availability zone inside of the region, they're also connected between each other using high speed, high bandwidth, low latency networking. It is the first. The second, availability zone by itself, it's represented either a single data center or a multiple data center. All of them combined together. Each data center, each availability zone has independent power supply, air conditioning. So I would call it engineering environment, environmental environment. So it's designed to satisfy the highest standards. And it doesn't matter if you start a small project in AWS or you run a large project in AWS. Every and each time you will get an access to the highly reliable and secure infrastructure based on our data centers. Now let's speak about quite important point. It is shared responsibility mode, because we provide highly reliable, secure infrastructure. So it is data centers, it is our networking, compute environment, data storages, and so on and so forth. And we, as AWS, responsible for security of the cloud. But our customers, they're responsible for security in the cloud. So that means you are responsible for a high level setup of your infrastructure aligned with your business and the security requirements. And I would like to give you some examples. So on this slide, you can see the way how traditional on-premise security model looks like. You, as a customers, responsible for everything. You are responsible for physical access to your environment. You are responsible for installing and maintaining hardware, patching it, working with the latest microcode. You are responsible for the networking. You are responsible that nobody will connect to your network and to get some data from it. You're also responsible for patching and managing your operation systems and your applications. Now let's see how it looks like in AWS. First of all, we will remove the most boring part from your security team. So we will take care about engineering, physical security, access to our internal network. We will take care about underlying infrastructure like hypervisors, like switches. But you, as a customers, would be responsible to managing and networking access to your resources, like EC2 instances or RDS instances. You would be responsible for identity and authorization management. You would be responsible for encrypting your data. And I give you an example based on our services. So let's imagine you decided to run Oracle database on top of our EC2 virtual machine. And in this example, you would be responsible for patching operational system, patching databases, providing access to the data, providing a proper setting of the networking communications. In case if you decide to go with the managed AWS services like AWS RDS service, relational database service, you will not be responsible for working with operational system or patching database. You will take responsibility only for the high level operations. So that means it will greatly simplify and decrease your expenses related to maintenance and administrations of a specific database. Maybe it's not a problem if we speak about a single database, but let's imagine you have 10 databases, 20 databases, 100 databases. And that means that AWS will help you to scale well, so you will be able to work much easier with a large number of different resources. And here is a quiz, and just to give you even more understanding how AWS responsibility looks like. So the first questions, let's imagine you need to set up access and to provide the proper access inside of your network. And you need to set up a security group for specific ports which are open on your EC2 Linux instance. And the questions: who is responsible to do these activities? Is it AWS responsibility or it is a customer responsibility? And the answer is it is our customers' responsibilities, because only you understand which ports should be opened and who should get access to your specific resources. So in other words, it is business-related settings that should be done by the person who clearly understand the relationship between different applications and different services inside of your infrastructure. The second question: who is responsible for preventing packet sniffing at the hypervisor level? And in AWS, our hypervisor is called Nitro, and it is specifically designed to be secure. Just a quick example: inside of each physical EC2, not EC2 instance, inside of each physical instance, we have a specific security card. It's a physical security card, and the security card allows us to use an encryption. That means, from the customer points of view and from the operation system points of view, any encryption activities will not introduce additional operational workload, additional load to your applications or to your service or maybe your database. And returning back to those questions, it would be an AWS responsibility, because we are control our hypervisors and we are control the network between our hypervisors. The next one: who is responsible or who will be responsible for patching the operating system on EC2 with the latest security patches? I think it is quite straightforward questions, because it will be the customer responsibility. Next one: who is responsible for shredding disk drives before they leave a data center? And that's quite interesting topics, because in case of your highly regulated customers, I don't know, from FSI industry or government industry or some government account, very often these customers have a really strict and specific requirements about how to deal with the data disk drive, HDD or SSD, after they decide that these drives should be utilized or removed. And AWS helps in this topic as well, because it would be our responsibility. Next question is: who is responsible for maintaining, for example, a specific regulations like ISO or SOC 2, and to create a report for AWS data center control implementations? And it's definitely would be a AWS responsibility. And I think it's not the final questions, but the question is about who is responsible for defining authorization and authentication mechanism, who is responsible for setting users, groups, roles, and defining permissions. And definitely answers, it is our customers' responsibilities. And the final questions: who is responsible for deciding if for specific project we need to use encryption to encrypt our data, for example, in Amazon Simple Storage Bucket or not? And definitely it's totally up to the customer decide the way how they should encrypt as Amazon Simple Storage Bucket. But recently we introduced, and we have a lot of way how you can do it in Amazon Simple Storage Service. You can use customer managed keys. You can use AWS Schema service. You can you can use service side encryption or customer side encryption. So we provide a lot of different options how it can do. The next topic is really related to the previous one, and here we are speaking about compliance and regulations. And one important point again, AWS is responsible for compliance of the cloud. So we're responsible for compliance of our infrastructure. You as a customer responsible for compliance in the cloud. And I just give you an example. Let's speak about such regulations as PCI DSS. So regulations related to the building a data center which is capable to work with a plastic card with the users and information from the plastic cards. And here it is, we can separate these regulations into two parts. And half of the regulations more related to the infrastructure topics. And AWS, for example, will cover it. And you can go to AWS artifact and to find a report that our infrastructure satisfy this part of the PCI DSS. But in case if you need actually to build a service with compliant with PCI DSS, you need to do additional steps to be compliant, to satisfy these requirements. And we, as a company, provide you with the tools with AWS Security Services, which can help you to achieve and to get this certificate of compliance for these specific regulations. And many customers, not many customers, AWS put special attention working with third-party auditors to make sure that our data center and our infrastructure satisfies the most critical regulations all around the world. And on this slide, you can see that we collaborate with different authorities and we certify our infrastructure. So it's not just words. You can always prove it. And to go to these two resources. The first is AWS compliance website. And here you can just get a better understanding how compliance in AWS looks like, what are the most critical regulations. And in case if you need to find information about specific regulations like PCI DSS or GDRP, you can go to AWS Artifact and to find auditors report who confirm that our infrastructure was checked and it's compliant with these specific regulations. Now let's speak about AWS services. And I would like to take one step back and to speak about security standards first. And I used to work a lot, for example, with NIST cybersecurity framework. NIST is a North American Institute of Standardizations, and they developed and very well known and highly adopted in the world, in the industry, security standard. And these security standards consist of 5 pillars. The first, identify, where you should identify which assets you have, how these assets are critical for you, and to develop a strategy. How do you protect these assets based on their criticality? It is the first. So in identify pillars, you would work with a lot of assumptions, like what is going to do if we lost this part of the data, or if this service will not be available. And it is the place where you develop your security strategy. The next step would be to build your protection mechanism. So you should decide how you protect your endpoints, maybe end users. Maybe how do you protect your databases? How do you protect your data? And so on and so forth. The next pillars is detection. And if we speak about detection, very often you should understand that now, very often it's not a question if you would be attacked. The question is when you will be attacked. And quite probable that somebody will get into your environment and will try to do something. and you should have mechanism in place which can help you to understand that something wrong is going on in your infrastructure and to react to these incidents. So you should have some kind of anomaly detections for your users activity, anomaly detection for your activity inside of your networking. It is all about detection. The next would be not only to detect, but to respond. Okay, we find something, how we are going to respond to specific events, what we are going to do, and how we are going to learn from the previous incidents and improve our security. So I'm speaking here about respond capabilities. And finally, you always should have a last line of resource to be capable to recover after the incidents. And it's important that AWS provides specialized security services to each of these pillars. We have services for identity and access management. We have services which can help you to simplify your detection mechanism. We have services which can help you to improve your both and infrastructure protection and data protection, and to be capable to respond to security incidents and to recover after that. And here, I'm not going to speak specifically about each individual services. You can see we have them here a lot. And my ask to you is just to put into the chat which topics would be more interesting for you. And we can set up another webinar and to speak about detection mechanism, identity access management, networking protections, maybe data protection. But each topic is very, very specific, and it just not enough time for today's sessions to cover all of them. And then finally, I would like to add one important point, because if we speak about security and security in AWS, I would say all AWS services, all of them, they are in some kind of security services. All of them say have a security mechanism inside of them. And it's important if you start working with AWS to understand this mechanism and to understand how you can use them and how you can combine with specialized AWS security services. So I give you a simple example. For example, we have Amazon Simple Storage Service with some AWS bucket. And the question is how going to encrypt the data, or how I'm going to understand that my bucket or some objects were deleted. Which services I can use to understand who access a specific object inside of my bucket, in case if I need it, according to my security strategy. But it's a very specific topic. I would say it's quite specific topics, and all of them, they should be discussed in a separated webinar related to a specific AWS services or a specific area like detection or protection or response. And I would say, okay, we have a great infrastructure and we built a lot of services, and we introduced a lot of features inside of our AWS services related to security. But we also have a really important, I would say, area where we can help our customers. And I'm speaking about the sharing knowledge, sharing AWS knowledge about how to properly build security, not only in AWS, maybe, but in general, what you should do in order to make your environment, your services more secure. And here is a really great resources which we can use and which can help you to assess your environment, or to maybe just understand how you can improve them. And the first is called AWS Well-Architected Security Pillar. And it is conceptions, we call them AWS Well-Architected Framework, which can help you to build a secure, reliable, and safe services on AWS Cloud. And inside of AWS Well-Architected Framework, we have 5 pillars. And one of these pillars is AWS well-architected security pillar. So you can go to this using this QR code, or just to look in your browser for AWS architected security pillar. And this pillar provides you with an actionable steps and questions. And you can look at these questions and to understand if you're compliant with asks. And if you, in case if you're not compliant, AWS well architected security pillar provides you with steps which you can implement in order to improve your security. And you can do it in two different ways. You can go to our website to find a document, to look through it. And the second way is to use AWS well-architected tool. It is specialized tools which allows you to set up some kind of workshop. It can be external, it can be internal. And inside of this tool, you can use a different set of the questions. And we call them lenses. So you use these lenses for a specific area of your environments. It can be well-architected, it can be security, or it can be a specific environment like SAP, or let's imagine you have just made a first steps in AWS, and what should be done in the security points of view. And so you can use a lens which can help you to assess and use your newly set up environment. So again, go to well-architected framework, look at well-architected tools. It can really help you to make your security better. The second one is AWS Security Reference Architecture. And here we will speak about more architectures, how you will build your detection mechanism, how you will build your cyber forensic, how you do your perimeter security, how to work with IAM federation. So, and this guidance provide you with architectures and which services and on which services you should use and how you can combine them. The next area is also very important because we have a large numbers of our partners, both at AWS technologies and service partners who can help you. Again, if you would like to work with a specific solution, you can always find them on AWS Marketplace. They provide you with instructions how to set up them inside of the AWS Cloud. They provide you a simplified way how you pay for them. It will also provide with you easy steps to set up a specific solutions inside of your AWS Cloud. I don't know, like I would like to run a Fortinet firewall. Okay, I will go to AWS Marketplace. I run a script. We will use some CloudFormation template, and will automatically create resources that is needed to be created to run this product successfully. The next one is our service and technology partners. So again, feel free to contact our distributor in case if you need help of the people of our partners who has a real experience how to work with security for different areas. I don't know, it can be healthcare, government, or for in a specific environment related to generative AI, or it's totally up to your projects, up to your requirements. Now let's speak about success stories. And I prepared a slides about 3 customers who worked with AWS and with AWS Security Services. And I would like to speak about HSBC customer, and it is one of the largest, it's large financial organizations. And they rely on AWS because AWS, from one point of view, simplifies the way they work with AWS infrastructure. From the other point of view, AWS provides tools and technologies which help them to scale up together with the environment and to be capable to adjust their security needs according to this changing environment and changing reality of our security world. And finally, I would like to speak a little bit about specific regulations related to our local countries. Because, okay, in many different countries, we have regulations related to personal data. In case of your country has some AWS region, it simplify our goals, but sometimes we need to find a ways how we can keep a personal data inside of your countries. I know, like I'm building some project in Kazakhstan, and I would like to keep all personal data of Kazakhstan's customers inside of my country. And I just need to satisfy these regulations. And we can do a lot with AWS because at this moment, AWS provides more than 250 different services. And you can combine these services together with your on-prem environment. And we call it hybrid infrastructure. And you can connect your hybrid environment and AWS Cloud using either AWS Direct Connect. So I would call it a direct networking connections between AWS Cloud and your on-prem data center, or use AWS site-to-site VPN. And you can use different techniques how you can keep your local data in, for example, local database, and the data that is not personal, you can keep in AWS Cloud. I'm not going to go into details about how we can do it because there are so many different options, but I would recommend you to look at our hybrid architecture to address personal data processing requirements. And you can find the link to this document, and you can use this short link or just to go to the QR code in case if you are interested. And then finally, if you need to build such a project, feel free to contact our partners or our distributor or AWS, and we always be able to help you to deal with such topics with such a project. And that's pretty much from my side, and I'm ready to answer to your questions.